What's up, everybody? Sorry about that. It's me, Dylan, your host for the Sports for Life podcast. Just wanted to thank everybody for joining the live. Today, we're going to be discussing a trade that just went down in the NBA just recently. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis going to the Miami Heat in return for Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Kasparis Jakununis, and a 2026 first round pick, number 13, a 2031 first round pick, 2033 first round pick, 2030 first round pick swap, a 2033 second round pick. So Miami got a large overhaul over here from. Sorry, the Milwaukee Bucks received a large overhaul from the Miami Heat in return for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. Now, for the Heat are always in a win now situation, as you know. Um, they're always trying to build, especially Pat Riley, always trying to build a team that can compete right away. And bringing Giannis in is a huge move for the Miami Heat in a win now situation. Now, I know they gave up a lot of assets. I don't know too much about the three players under Tyler Hero. I do know Tyler Hero as well. Um, and a lot of picks, which is a lot of compensation. And in the NBA, picks are very valuable when it comes to making trades. Obviously, you want to match your salary. You want to be, you know, competitive in that sense, but matching, I mean, bringing in the amount of assets that the Milwaukee Bucks are bringing in, it shows that they're in a clear rebuild situation here. They had an offer on the table for Jalen Brown, Jalen Brown, and two first round picks for Giannis, which, I mean, if Milwaukee was in a win now situation, then I would have done this deal instead of the Tyler Hero deal. Like if we were in a win now situation. Now, for me, it would depend on the two first round picks that they do receive. Are they receiving two first round picks in the coming years or in the future? And Boston is a tricky one because I've seen teams do the same kind of trade where they basically the compensation comes sooner than expected, and what happens is that the teams are still competitive at that time. So, for example, let's say, uh, let's say the Raptors, for example. Let's say this year they're in the playoffs, or let's say this year they're a good team, and they kind of reshuffle the deck and bring in new players, and next year they're more competitive than they were this year, and teams wouldn't expect that, right? So, what that means is that now if a team has a draft pick from the Raptors, they're not going to get a closer to, you know, the lottery. They're going to be kind of further out, obviously, right? The better you do, further away you are from the lottery. So in this situation, if I was the Milwaukee Bucks and, Giannis was a situation where I had to move on from, I would definitely consider doing this deal, bringing in Jalen Brown and two first round picks for sure. If I had to move Giannis, he is 31 years old. He is having a lot of injury issues. And that for me is always a concern when it comes to players and trades. Same thing goes for the Lakers with Anthony Davis. People say, oh, now they don't have a center. Now they don't have, that rim protection. However, Anthony Davis was only playing half the time. And especially in the playoffs, he was never there. So that's just an example of what I mean when I say, trading a player during the time when they're kind of past their prime, right? Giannis is 31. He's still young. But he's above 30, and once you're above 30 in the NBA, you're now become one of those players that you got to watch their reliability and dependability, especially when you're paying them a lot of money. And if I bring it up here, Giannis is, let me see, let's see the payroll for the team. So if I bring this up here from the payroll point of view, let me just zoom it in a little bit here. Okay, so let's close that, whatever that is. So for example, Giannis Antetokounmpo this year he made $54 million. In the coming season, he will be making $58 million. And in the next season, he has a player option. I believe it's yes, player option to which he can accept or decline, and he will be making $62 million. So he's still he. So basically, the season is over. So now we're looking at these two. So he has basically 1 year on his deal, and then he has a player option which he can decline and then sign a new contract with them, or he can literally walk away from the Miami Heat after 1 year. So it's interesting. What's up, Mamba? How you doing? Giannis wants to win another championship, and the Miami Heat are contenders. Yeah, they are. I mean, I'm not going to rule them out. They do need to rebuild their roster. When you look at the Miami Heat, sorry, let me just bring that up here. I have their payroll here as well. When you look at the Miami Heat and like what's on the books, for example, so again, 2025 to 26 is over. So now we're going into 26-27, right? So who are they going to have on the roster? They're going to have Myron Gardner. This guy is a team option, so they can fully decline this. Peely Larson, and they can take him off the books and save that money. This guy's a free agent. Drew Smith is signed, and then he's a player option. This guy is also signed, and then he has a 2 year player option. No, sorry, this one was traded. Yes, he was traded. He was shipped out. Jamie Jaquez Jr. He was shipped out, and this Kelaware. These three guys were shipped out. So, I mean, they're not even long term deals either, and that's the iffy part about it when when you take these trades. Mostly, it's like a salary cap thing. They're trying to take less of a hit on the salary cap, and they're looking for the assets again. They're always looking for the draft compensation. They're looking for what they can get in cash considerations, things like that. That's what they're looking at, and obviously they're looking at offloading Giannis's big contract, and that's what in this kind of deal, that's what they're doing, right? They ship him out, they send him away. They look to drop whatever salary they can drop from that trade, and then they're obviously absorbing these smaller contracts minus Tyler Hero, who has a pretty good sized contract. He's at 33 here million per year, and after this season, Tyler Hero is an unrestricted free agent. So this kind of build, when you're looking at building, and Mamba, for example, you play NBA 2K, so you understand the cap situation and how it works pretty much when it comes to making sure you're under the cap, you're under the hard cap. Basically, you don't want to be overspending and put yourself into a luxury tax situation where if you hit past the luxury tax, you got to pay taxes on top of that tax. So it's basically like shooting yourself in the foot once you pass that. Some teams do go over it just as an exception if they're ready to build to contend, for example, for a title. Then your owner might be say, okay, yeah, this year let's go over the cap a little bit just to push our team a little past where we need to go just to get the job done. And for example, the Knicks did that this year. They were over the cap. They paid luxury tax on top of that. They had a lot of star power on their team, and then they were able to win the title, which made it make sense, right? So over here, again, they have Andrew Wiggins as well. This is going to be an interesting situation here. He does have a player option for this coming season, so he's got to make a decision on if he accepts it. That's 30 million on the books. So then you're going to have a very top heavy team. You're going to have Bam Adebayo here. You're going to have Wiggins, and then you would have Giannis. So you're looking at 50, 40, and 30. That's a lot of money on the table for those three players. So if Wiggins declines his option, he will be a free agent. And then he will be able to sign with another team. So for the sake of this Miami Heat team, they basically have a lot of retooling to do here, right? They got this guy's off the books. Norman Powell is off the books as well. They got to look to probably bring him back on a maybe a 2-year deal, even a 1-year deal, at a lower number. Hopefully, he doesn't ask for more than 20. But I would look at bringing back Norman Powell for sure. If they can get Wiggins back, he can decline his player option and they can sign him back for, let's say, like 2 more years at a lower number than 30. That would look good as well. These are players that they have to look at retaining. And then the rest of their team is not really competitive. Like the rest of these guys are not anything exciting. Nikola Jovic is not bad, but his cap number is also going higher. He's 16 mil, but he's still young, so that's okay. And they have him signed for a multi-year deal, so he's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 years left on his contract. So that's good. That's good for them. They have some foundation there. Davion Mitchell, he's also a good player. He's still there. He's young. That's good. Um, but they're gonna basically this whole team is gonna basically be rebuilt, and I think that that is the idea from their team. Jovic is their star center. Yeah, he's good. He's solid. So paying him 16 million, I would definitely be fine with that. I'm not opposed to that at all, especially for a center. Uh, Sorry, 1 second here. But the rest of the team needs retooling. I mean, when you look at it, you got Bam, you got Wiggins, who could possibly stay or go. Then you got Davion Mitchell, and then you got Nikola Jovic, and then you have to rebuild your team. So it's having Giannis and Bam Adebayo, you got to look for scoring. You need 3-point shooting. You need guys to can space the floor and score. Um, they have Giannis at power forward or center. They got to play him at power forward at this point in his career. And then that means that at small forward and shooting guard, they have to have good shooters who can space the floor and shoot, because that's going to be a weakness of this team, the shooting. Um, they're going to need some punch off the bench. They're going to need some guys who can score, guys like Norman Powell who can score. Wiggins can also score as well, but again, the cap numbers, you can't drain. I don't think that the smart move here is to drain the cap by overpaying for these guys. I think that looking at the free agency market, let me see, free agents for 2026. Yeah. NBA. Free agent tracker. Okay. So if you look at the free agent tracker for the NBA, let's see what we have available to us here, just as a rough estimate. Um, so these are the free agents as of now. So let's see. DeAndre Ayton is a free agent. Marvin Bagley the third is a free agent. He's a good player. Delano Banton, Harrison Barnes. So again, he's getting up there in age as well, though. Batum is very old. He's 37. Bradley Beal is a free agent. Um, Bogdanovic is a free agent. He's a good shooter. Bruce Brown. So there's a lot of guys. Kentavious Caldwell Pope. Like these are guys that the Heat need to look at bringing into their team, right? Like guys like Kentavious Caldwell Pope, space the floor, shoot the ball. Guys like Bruce Brown, who's experienced. He's an experienced point guard. He can give them some good minutes off the bench. Um, Even Julian Champagne, who he's 24 and he just came off of his time with the Spurs. He did a good job as well. I don't think they should start him, but coming off the bench, guys like Jordan Clarkson who can contribute. And then they got to get a little bit younger too. Look, Seth Curry is a free agent. Um, Andre Drummond, Lou Dort. So there's guys here that they can use, like guys that can be an impact off the bench or can start. Jeff Green, Draymond Green, Rui Hachimura, like he's a good player. He's an excellent player that they can put at the three, playing small forward for them. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a free agent. So again, these are guys that are very effective players for potential guys for them. You know, even Jackson Hayes, who I really like for the Lakers, he's a very good center, a good backup center for them. Al Horford is a player that I would look at. He's 40, but hey, sign him on a 1 year deal. Let him go, right? Let him play, and he can shoot the ball. He's very good. He's still stays healthy all the time. So you know, LeBron is a free agent. Like I don't know if a LeBron reunion, LeBron, Giannis, and Bam in Miami, like that could be a thing. So and again, it might eat their cap up a little bit. But if I leave Wiggins out and whatnot, and I go LeBron, Giannis, and Bam, and then I surround it by pure shooting, scoring guys, like I bring in those veteran guys, like I mentioned, like Tim Hardaway Jr. or Kentavious Caldwell Pope and those guys, then you got some star power there, right? And that's the way that these teams have to be built. You can't be weak when it comes to spreading the floor. You have to be a team. Like that's why the Golden State Warriors were so successful for so many years. They just spaced the floor with everybody and they could control, attacking the basket, they could control the 3-point line, things like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of free agents. I mean, there's always every year, there's always free agents in the pool when it comes to getting some guys. You also need young, strong guys who can shoot, who can be faster. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Bringing in these veteran guys is good as well. But yeah, you do need young guys. You do need some young players who can play. Maybe some of these guys they have here, I'm not sure of their abilities, but maybe some of them are worth keeping. You got like 25-year-old guys here and stuff like that. So, you can always find guys in free agency and even trades. They can still trade people. So, sign and trade and whatever the case is, there's all kinds of different options that these teams can use. And, and yeah, I think LeBron is dedicated to the Lakers. I agree. I think so too. I don't think he will leave. I think that he's going to stay there. But it would be interesting to see a Giannis, LeBron, and Bam Adebayo led Miami Heat team, the three of them, and then surrounding them by other talent. That would be very interesting. And you know, as you know, in the sports world, we can always imagine who will be where and what's going to happen. So, but but yeah, that's my summary about that. Just discussing the trade itself. Personally, my feeling is I think both teams. He's on the verge of retirement, so maybe his last. Yeah, I agree with that, Mamba. I think that I think LeBron might be 1 year out or maybe two at max. I don't know what he's gonna do. Um, I don't think he's done now. I do think he maybe has maybe another year or so. So, you know. Um, but yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but the trade for what happened, for what went down here, I think that I mean I think both teams won the trade. I wouldn't say one team or the other team won the trade. And the reason I'm saying that is because both teams are going in two different directions as teams. And that's something that we need to understand here when it comes to the trade. Yes, when you see Giannis Antetokounmpo going to Miami from the Milwaukee Bucks, people are always wondering, well, what did they get in return and what's going on here? But the Heat are going in a direction where they want to win now. They're in a championship direction. They're building now to win now. They're tired of this past season and how things have been going. They're looking to retool, maximize Bam Adebayo's window, and get this team back on track so they can, contend for a title. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks, as I said before, they had an offer on the table, which was Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics and 2 first-round picks. However, when you look at the compensation from from both of the teams, Milwaukee understands that if you check what they got, a 2031 first round pick and a 2033 first round pick. So they're basically looking to retool for the future. They're not in a win now situation. They're looking at ahead of the line, They took on Tyler Hero's contract, which is expiring after this year, and the other guys that are on that they traded for are not superstar or great players. They have them now to retool their team and have them, being a team that can contend, not for a title, but just can contend as a team. But they're looking at the compensation that they got. When you see it, it's all in the future minus this current draft's 13th pick, which they took from the Heat. So again, they're looking at getting somebody from that draft, and then they're also looking at these picks being assets in the future. And I think that they're trying to build in the way of how the Oklahoma City Thunder built their team. Basically, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they did the same thing. They traded certain players, as they traded Paul George, and they did that thing. And then what happened is that they accumulated a lot of future assets. And part of one of the trades that they did, they ended up getting Gilgeous Alexander, who is basically like the probably best player in the league right now, or at least top three. And they used him as the cornerstone, and then used all the assets they got to rebuild their team around him. So, and that's what they did. And then they're contending now. They're a team that's contending, and next year they'll be back contending, and they have many years of contending, and they also have many years of picks accumulated from all the trades. So, people saw that formula based on the cap situation and how the cap situation's so tight with teams. And they're doing that same formula where they are now accumulating the assets and drafting accordingly and trying to hit on those draft picks. Hoping teams obviously don't perform well, and then after that, being able to cash in on those picks and get some star caliber players, build your team with a young core, and obviously have a leader on that team, and then you contend. So that's the formula that's in the NBA right now. It's not about getting these big contracts and having two super max players, and then everyone else is like a minimum player, for example. That's not the winning formula now in the league, with how they are doing the cap situation and how they're limiting the fact that you can't have three max players on a team. You have to have two and plus another big contract, and then your cap is pretty much tied up. So that's the situation with the trade. Again, if Giannis wants to move on, he wants to win now. I understand the trade. I think Milwaukee is smart for just trading him instead of letting him go. I've seen teams let players go, and they don't really get it. They don't get anything back for them, right? They just hope that they sign back, and then they leave, and then it's a mess. Like for example with the Raptors, we did that with Chris Bosh. We didn't trade him. We just let him become a free agent and hope that he would sign back, and then he left, and we got nothing for him. So you know these things happen, and I think that the Bucks made the smarter decision by going for more draft capital, which is what they got here. They got 3 first round picks and a first round pick swap and also a second round pick. So instead of just getting the 2 firsts and Jaylen Brown, if they got Jaylen Brown, they probably would have said or thought that, hey, we're kind of in the same window we're in with Giannis right now with Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown doesn't push the needle for them to be in a win now situation. And I agree with that. I think Jaylen Brown doesn't make them better than Giannis. Having Giannis makes the Bucks better than having Jaylen Brown, but Giannis has been injured these last couple of years, and that's something to consider. So, you know, I've saw reports of people saying that they ripped off the Bucks. The Bucks got fleeced. I've heard the opposite, that the Miami Heat got fleeced for this trade. Um, my personal opinion, if I was in charge of either team, if I was the Miami Heat, obviously doing this kind of deal, I would look at how am I going to build around it? Because again, it's not just about looking at who you got on your team and who you have. It's about the fact that there salary cap complications as well on teams, and you have to be aware of how you spend your money. You have to be aware of how you allocate it. You have to be aware of what resources you have to continue to build out your team for the future as well, right? And again, having star players and them getting injured, it's a very common thing in the NBA. And I've as a Lakers fan, I've seen that happen with Anthony Davis. I've seen it happen with LeBron. I've seen it happen with other players as well, where we have a solid team, and if healthy, we can do damage. However, if we're not healthy or Anthony Davis was out, we're a liability in the paint, right? We don't got guys that can come in and contribute, and that's something that the Lakers never prepared for as a team when Anthony Davis went down. It was like a big liability and hole in the middle of the floor at the five position where they couldn't do anything to, you know, they couldn't do anything to protect the paint and continue to play at a high level, obviously. So it's the Heat are just, I guess at this point, the Heat are just rolling the dice on this one. When it comes to the players they gave up, I'm okay with it. When it comes to the draft capital they gave up, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's a lot. They did give up a lot. When it goes in reverse, the Milwaukee Bucks, from their point of view, I understand the direction they're looking to build for the future, and also, they didn't take on too much liability here. They're going to free up cap space. They're going to be able to, use some of these assets to play, use some of these assets to trade if they want to get more draft capital, if that's what the direction they're going in. But the problem with Milwaukee, Giannis is the attraction for the Milwaukee Bucks. Players see that. Players want to go where players are established. And having no Giannis there now, you don't really have a face of the franchise. I mean, what do you got? Miles Turner. So it's it kind of sets Milwaukee up for a reset. They can't really do anything now. I don't think, people are going to be so eager to go to Milwaukee and say, hey, I want to sign there as a free agent. And, this is the case. So that's, for me, is hard. It's kind of like, if you're a small city and you have, um, you know, a star player, like, okay, again, being a Toronto person, Vince Carter was the face of the franchise. He was the guy. When we traded Vince Carter, we didn't really have an identity. We were kind of like scratching our heads. I know we had Chris Bosh, but he was still very young. And he wasn't the face of the franchise. He was the young guy coming in, and yeah, we did utilize work with him to get him to be at the point of where he is. But the issue is that you lose that diversity having that star player on your team. It's kind of like right now, um if the Miami Heat didn't have Giannis, and then they didn't have Bam Adebayo, what's their identity, right? With what they have. So what is it, Norman Powell? Like, so, it's tough for these smaller franchises, Milwaukee being a smaller franchise in that sense, like not a Miami or a New York or a Los Angeles, to, you know, attract people to come, right? You got to have something there to want to bring people in, and you got to have some sort of, hey, we have Giannis. He's a top 5 player in the league. Here he is. He's, doing his thing. We need some backup. And then it also helps you bring in other players, especially in free agency. You can convince them that way, right? It's a selling point. So that's the concern I have with that. Um, but I mean, I guess it's fine. I'd rather, instead of letting Giannis walk for nothing or sit on the bench all next season like he was this past season and all that drama stuff, they dealt him and they got some assets for him. I mean, the picks are exciting. The players, maybe some of them might get traded from here. We'll see. Um, but I do think for both teams, it was a good trade. It was a fair trade, I think, considering Giannis's age and everything, and how he's been injury prone the last couple of years. He's been out. I think last year he was out for almost all of last year, and there's just a lot of risk in these moves. And if he's sitting on the bench most of next season, then it's going to be a bust for the Heat. Then the Heat got fleeced. So there's more upside for the Bucks on the sense because they have those draft picks that we don't know where the Heat are going to be in 2031 and 33 and 2030 with the first round pick. We don't know pick swap. We don't know where they're going to be. So for the Milwaukee Bucks, that's very promising. And especially since they're not really contending, so Giannis was just kind of there, just hanging out. The Miami Heat have a lot to make from this trade when it comes to trying to push for a title, and their window is very short here with what they've got. I don't think they've got too much time with Giannis because he's already injury prone. He's 31. This coming year he'll be 32, and you know how that goes, right? 30 by 35, they're shot. They're usually like it's very hard to get certain things from them. I don't know how he takes care of himself. I don't know if he's going to be LeBron like where he plays until he's like 40. Um, I don't think he's that kind of player. I think that he might call it maybe 34, 35. We'll see. But again, your window is now, so we'll see. Maple, you also said Raptors might be getting Miles Turner. I want that. That is a move I want. Miles Turner is an excellent player. He's a rim protector. He can shoot the three. I've always loved Miles Turner. Always loved him. When I used to play 2K a lot, Miles Turner, I used to always trade and get him on my team. His salary is not even a big hit either. I think I do have Miles Turner's information here. Let me just pull it up. I think he's only making Miles Turner's only making he's making 26 million this year coming. 26.5. So, I mean, that's excellent and he's only 30. So, that excites me. Kyle Kuzma, they got to get rid of him. He is honestly like a horrible player, Kyle Kuzma. Terrible. They have Gary Trent. They got a lot. See, they got a lot of players here that are on player options. Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent and Taurine Prince, Jericho Sims. See, so they got it. They're in a rebuild mode. Like this is not a competitive roster by any means, right? They got now. Bobby Portis is gone. He's a good player. He was this. People are underestimating the Bobby Portis factor. He's an excellent shooter. So this is going to give them a punch off their bench if he's coming off the bench for the Miami Heat. So Bobby Portis, I like that. That's a very under the radar move. He's an excellent player. Say he's averaged about 14 points a game, and he shoots incredibly well from the 3-point line. Look at that. He shoots 39% from three for his career, and last season he shot 45.6%. This is the move that excites me about this Giannis deal because Bobby Portis is an excellent scorer. He can shoot, he can get hot. He's got crazy bounce. He's still 30 in his early 30s, just hit 30. So he is, he's a player to watch. He's a player to watch. I think that, he makes a very good impact for this Miami Heat team coming in now. Bobby Portis, I like that. Kyle Kuzma is dead weight. They got it. They got to clear up the cap. I do agree. I do think Maple. I mean, I hope he comes to the Raptors, but I do think a lot of teams are going to be in the mix for Miles Turner. I think the Lakers should also be in play. That's my other team, other than the Raptors. But those teams should be definitely in the mix for Miles Turner because Miles Turner is a very good scorer. Um, he can shoot the three. He can shoot from the floor. He's aggressive. He's young still, and I like him to go to a contender. I don't think he should be dragging on with the Milwaukee Bucks. It does not make sense that he is. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I don't know what this is here, but anyways, Miles Turner is a great a great addition. I mean, would be a great addition to the Raptors or the Lakers. Trini boy, yes. My great chemistry with Bobby Portis. Yeah, Bobby Portis, like I said, he's an excellent player. I like him. I like his what he can do. He's even better this year than he was last year. Because he's shooting the three. He's shooting 45.6% from three, which is incredible. Like he's probably one of the top 3-point shooters percentage wise in the league. And that is going to be big for that Miami Heat team who has now acquired Bobby Portis and Giannis. Again, you're getting Giannis, you're getting the in the paint kind of guy presence, attacking the basket, rebounding, all that stuff, that grit. And then you're getting Bobby Portis who can space the floor and shoot, and that's what they need to surround this core with, scoring. They need perimeter defense and they need scoring. So let's see how this trade pans out for them. Maple, you also said now it's Scotty after Lowry. Yeah, exactly. Now Scotty is the face of the Raptors, and Lowry was at that point, um, you know, with his longevity with the team. So, but yeah, Miles Turner. Interesting to see where he goes because I think that I don't think he stays there. I think they're going to completely scrap and rebuild their team. They need to scrap and rebuild at this point, Milwaukee, because that's what they're set up to do right now. I would even look at if it's possible to trade Tyler Hero and see if they can get some draft capital from another team because the team can probably use somebody like Tyler Hero who can score, right? So I would look at trying to break this down a little bit more and see if I can get some more draft capital. And also, you know, again, Miles Turner and these other guys that we have on the team here, um, Kuzma, like try to get rid of his salary for whatever, Turner, and then basically after you do that, you basically have all like small like contracts that are not, you know, not impactful to your salary cap. So, you got to look at the future. Like I said, you got to look at bringing in young talent. You got to look at see if you can attract some sort of leader of a player who can come in and lead the team. Because right now, once you get rid of Giannis is off the books. You bring in Tyler Hero. I mean, that does not that does nothing for your team. To be respectful to Tyler Hero, it doesn't move the needle for me. You're not contending now, so um, you got some assets here. You got some young talent. You got some older guys, Gary Harris and Taurean Prince, and you know, uh, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, he's off the books now, so he's no longer going to be there this coming year. You got all these player options, which I mean, if these guys pick it up, it's not the end of the world. But I mean, you're kind of looking to the next season after that, not this coming season here. 2026 2027 you're looking at 27-28, which is the next season, and that opens up the door for pretty much your books are getting cleaned here. Bobby Portis is off the books. Ryan Rollins is a player option, and Kuzma's off the books as well. And I don't think Kuzma's going to get picked up by anybody because he's complete trash. Kuzma, he's not good. He shot 34% from three. His free throw percentage is terrible. It's 72. Yeah, I never liked Kuzma. Kuzma was only good in his first year with the Lakers. After that, he was not good. He's just been dragging on other teams. Trini Boy, you have another message. Have they confirmed anything about Lowry retiring as a Raptor or no? As of right now, it's not confirmed. But let me see. Retire. He might. I'd assume that he will, but I don't think he is. Uh, okay, so yes, correction to that. On January 12th, 2026, Kyle Lowry committed to signing one-day contract to retire with the Raptors. So it's something that is in the works. it's something that's in the works. They haven't. My goal, I've committed to this, and I'll go from what I say. I will sign a 1 day and contract and retire as a Raptor. That has not changed. Lowry told Raptors ahead of his Philadelphia 76. So it's not confirmed yet when it's going to happen. But it's going to happen. So I think he's still playing. He's still with the Sixers. So he has not retired yet. So he is not. I mean, it's not going to happen until he's retired, obviously. So um, he might. I think he might retire because he's 39 now, and he doesn't really play much. He plays 8.6 minutes a night. So we'll see. But I would say either this year you can expect it to happen. Maybe he calls it after the season, like, hey, I'm like right now I'm done, and he's gonna retire. Or maybe next season he maybe has one more season in the tank, and then I think that he calls it. And then you'll see right after that, you'll see it happen. He'll do the retirement thing, and they'll announce it, sign the 1 day. You'll see photos and things come in, and maybe we'll do an updated video on that point once that happens. Um, Yeah, no problem, Trini. You're welcome. You're welcome. Just got that in quickly for you. But yeah, so that's what's going on. So currently, right now, the NBA draft is taking place. First round, second round. Second round just was today, so that's exciting. Let me see for you guys as Raptors fans. The Raptors selected Alan Graves, a forward. So let's bring this up for you guys here. So the Raptors in today's NBA draft, they selected Alan Graves with the 19th overall pick in the 2026 NBA draft. There's a photo of him with the commissioner. Vision 6'9" was back for at least one night. Toronto Raptors selected Alan Graves, the 19th overall, in the first round of the NBA draft on Tuesday night. The 6'9" forward is the latest in a long line of Raptor draft picks that were athletic forwards, approximately 6 feet 9 inches in height, like Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and most recently Collie Murray Boyles. Big wings, they love big wings and big guards, so I fit right in, said Graves in a video call with reporters from Brooklyn, New York, where the draft was held. I know the culture there is great just from my visit being there. Just knowing that I'm coming into a winning position, a winning program that's going in the right direction is just amazing, amazing feeling. So he averaged 11.8 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 1.8 assists for the Santa Clara Broncos last season. He also had 1.9 steals and 0.9 blocks per game in his only NCAA season, earning him the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year award and Sixth Man of the Year award. The 19-year-old power forward from Pochuluda, LA, said that he could add to Toronto's possession game and that he believed he could fit right in alongside established defenders like Barnes and Murray Boyles. I definitely knew that was my type of player. Was something that they like to draft, said Graves. My visit to Toronto was amazing. It was one of my best visits. So that's exciting. That's exciting. It's always exciting to get a guy who can come in and wants to win and wants to contribute to the team. He's excited for the city. He's excited for the team. And it's excellent that he is coming here and he's going to play with the Raptors. So that's good. And we look at getting started with him on the team and seeing how that goes. So, but yeah, so that's a little update for you guys. So we got a new draft pick, Alan Graves. Hopefully he's going to be good for us. Let's see what he can do. Again, we're going with that lanky 6'8", 6'9" build of players. As you guys know, the OGs, the Scotty Barnes, that kind of player. We have Murray Boyles. I've seen him play last season. He plays really well. He's a good defender. He's very good around the basket. And Alan Graves should be something similar to that as well. So All right, so that's just a little Raptors update for you Raptors fans out there. So you guys are aware of what's going on. In regards to the Giannis trade to Miami, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. It's good for him. He's moving on. And, for the Bucks, as I said, I feel they're in a rebuild. Another issue to bring up is the failed trade from Boston to Milwaukee for Giannis. They offered Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown now is pissed off. And he's posting up all kinds of social media videos about him potentially being like thrown out there and traded. So he's pissed off that, obviously he wasn't traded, but now he knows he was on the trading block and that the Celtics were looking to shop him and keep Jason Tatum. So now there's feathers ruffled in Boston. So that's something now the Celtics are going to have to deal with. They're most likely going to have to trade Jaylen Brown now to somebody because it's the relationship is now broken, right? So they have to trade him. If they keep him, he's going to be disgruntled and he's going to be causing trouble with their chemistry this coming year. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I would say keep an eye on it from now until the season starts. Maybe as the draft is going on, they're going to see, maybe they can get some draft picks or trade for someone who was just drafted. So, and that's probably going to be part of that Jaylen Brown deal. But let's see. It'll be interesting to see where Jaylen Brown goes and what happens with him in the coming weeks, because I do believe that a trade will come soon. I don't think that they're going to be able to handle Jaylen Brown and handle the noise from now him potentially being traded, and then all of a sudden the trade's off, and then it kind of blows up in their face. So we'll see. Interesting to see. We're going to see the up till from now until the NBA season starts again. You're going to see a lot of transactions, a lot of trades, signings, and things like that. So there'll be a lot more videos posting um, and explaining everything that's going on in the league. So you guys will get the updates as normal. And, thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out here with us, asking questions, discussing things. It's really been great. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks so much. But right now, we're going to call it. And, that's the update of Giannis Antetokounmpo going to the Miami Heat in return for a overhaul. So, we'll tune in and see. I'll definitely post a video, maybe during or after the season about this to revisit this to see how this panned out for both teams this current year. And then, we'll know exactly based on what directions the teams go into if it was a correct prediction or not and see, right? And it's always up for discussion. So you guys can tune in again and we can revisit that definitely. So, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to the Sports for Life podcast. I'm your host, Dylan. And if you have not already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You can follow my Deadshot Dylan page on Twitch and on YouTube. And inside of the YouTube page, if you go to podcasts, you will find Sports for Life podcast, and you'll find more videos posting about different sports topics, discussions, and, featuring some guests as well, things like that. And, it's exciting. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Again, appreciate you guys. I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much. And we will be back soon with another Sports for Life podcast video. Again, I'm your host, Dylan. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.